Hi and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be looking again at the 72 absolute needles. After the first video on the 72 absolute needles and all the interest that we've got from it, I've decided to do a second one talking about 3 more points that belong to this category. If you missed the first video, I'll leave a link here so you can check out the first video I've made on the 72 absolute needles. If you'd like to learn more about the techniques that I talk about in my videos, check out the courses I have available. I have courses in Portuguese and in English, so check them out in the links below. In these courses I teach the balanced method to treat pain. This is a technique where you get instant relief in most pain cases, so if you want to learn about it, check them out. And today I'm going to be talking about 3 more Master Tung points that are part of this amazing category. Just as a small review, the 72 absolute needles are a category of points within Master Tung acupuncture, which are points that were so powerful that Master Tung believed that each of these 72 points could be used by itself to solve a given pathology or a given problem. So you might have one of the 72 absolute needles that treats sciatica, one that treats gynecological problems, one that treats neurological problems, and so on. Unfortunately, and given that because of the way that Master Tung taught, we don't have the description of the 72 needles functions, meaning actually for years I had to dig in order to find the full list of the 72 needles, because different authors would give you, well, these points are part of the 72 absolute needles, but most authors didn't have the full list. And this is due to the way that Master Tung taught. Because Master Tung wouldn't give actual classes. What happened is his disciples would be with him in the clinic and watch him work, and as he was working he would talk about some of the points, but it wasn't like a theoretical class where he'd go through the full list of points. So if you were lucky enough to see him use 40 of the absolute needles during the time that you were there, you'd learn about 40. If you just saw 3, you just learned 3. And that's why different disciples bring you different lists, and then only when you combine the knowledge of more than one disciple you can get the full list. So it took me years to find out the full list of the 72 that I'm going to be giving away to you in different videos. And the 3 points that we're going to see today are points more directed to internal medicine. So we're going to be acting deeper. These are very powerful points that we'll be looking into, and we're going to be looking into points in 3 different zones. We're going to be looking into the first set of points, which are located in zone 11, so the fingers. We're going to look at a point in zone 22, so the hand, and then in zone 44, so on the arm, in this case close to the shoulder. And let's dive into the first point, and this first point is Shuang Ling. This can be translated to double efficacy, and as you can see here, the point is located in the middle finger on the palmar side. Unfortunately, this is another point without numbering, which means that it's not in any of the translated books. It's only in the books from Doctor Who, which are in Chinese, that we can find this point, and Doctor Who is one of the few direct disciples that teaches about this point. As you can see, this is a set of 2 points on the palmar side of the middle finger, and these points are located in the first joint, one on each side. So you can think of them as being in the midline of the joint, so the articular line over the B and D lines specifically. These points have the Janjong of the heart, the kidney and the lung. As general indications for this point, we have that they regulate the descent of the fire, so the downward movement of the fire element from the heart to the rest of the organs. They regulate the heart, particularly the rhythm of the heart. As I've said in previous videos, when you see points that have the heart Shanjing and the lung Shanjing at the same time, it's always related to the rhythm of the heart. They regulate the circulation of qi, blood and fluids, and favor the arterial flow of blood. But as the main selling point of this point, and actually what makes it be part of the 72 absolute needles, is that it regulates the Shao Yin axis, meaning the connection between the kidney and the heart. So this is an amazing point to act on the connection between heart and kidney that we know a lot of times is broken. And when this connection is broken, we get a lot of problems. They can be mental problems. So we can get insomnia, we can get mania, we can get panic attacks. All of this can be due to this lack of connection between kidneys and the heart. And at the same time, we can start to see kidney deficiency because this connection is lost. And then we start to seeing this, especially in elderly patients, and a lot of other problems that come from the lack of connection between heart and kidney. This is actually a very interesting topic, in my opinion, that needs to be very well developed in the mind of every acupuncturist or every TCM practitioner. So if you want me to do a full video on why the connection between the heart and the kidney is so important, the Shao Yin axis, let me know in the comments and I'll make a specific video just with the problems that can come from this lack of connection and how we can treat it using acupuncture. But just for now, keep in mind that this point is amazing for that, to strengthen the connection between heart and kidney, or even to mend a broken connection. If you see a patient with this kind of problem, remember Shuang Ling is an amazing point for that, so much that it's part of the 72 absolute needles for the Shao Yin axis. And for our second point, we have what might be the most widely known Master Tung point in the world, which is Lingu, or 22.05. So you can see here, the point is located here in the hand, very close to the location of large intestine 4, but it's not exactly the same point. What you'll do is very close to the bone, you will slide your hand until you reach the joint between the thumb and the index finger. And here you'll find a little space, and this is Lingu. This is an amazing point, and you'll see here by the indications, it's very hard to find a patient where we couldn't fit Lingu into the treatment because it's such a powerful point. It also has the Shanjing of the kidney, the lungs, and the heart. And as general indications, it regulates the flow of qi, it regulates the flow of blood. It's helpful in almost any kind of pain, very useful for headaches, especially headaches caused by wind. It helps most problems related to the lung. It can be used for menstrual problems, dizziness, sciatica, headaches. This is a very complete point. We're not going to go too deep into this point. I already have a video specifically on the combination Lingu and Dabai that you can watch, but today we're going to focus on why this point is part of the 72 absolute needles, because as you can see, it's effective in a lot of different things. It has a lot of applications, but there's one main application, which is what makes this point be a part of the 72 absolute needles. And in this case, although it's not described by Master Tung why this point is part of the 72 absolute needles, in my opinion, that function must be because of its ability to move qi. So for me, Lingu is part of the 72 needles with the application of moving qi. This is one of the main points to move the qi. I'm not going to spend a full video on this. As I said, I have already got a video on Lingu and Dabai, and this is one of the most well-known points for Master Tung. So I'm not going to go 30 minutes just talking about Lingu, although I could, because this is a very interesting point. Again, if you want to learn even more about Lingu, let me know and I'll make a long format video just talking about this fantastic point. For this video, I just want you to keep this. If you need to move the qi of the patient, always think about Lingu. And for the last point that we're going to see, we have Jian Zhong, or 4406, the center of the shoulder. This is another of my favorite points. We've already talked about this point also in the channel in different treatments. And this point has the shunjing of the heart, and it's located, as you can see in the image, right at the center of your shoulder. This point can be used for skin problems, for palpitations, for hemiplegia, but its main indication and the reason why it's part of the 72 absolute needles is loss of strength in the lower limbs. Or I think you can think of this point as lack of strength or lack of energy in general. Sorry about the ambulance. Again, unfortunately I can control this part, but let's just let them get through and we can keep going. There we go. Back to our point. This point is, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best point to treat lack of strength. It's very useful for those older patients that can no longer stand up because their legs are too weak, but you can use them in any kind of patient that is feeling fatigue, tiredness that can't be explained. They're too tired, they don't have enough strength to do their daily lives. You can even use them to improve strength and resistance in athletes. So this is a very powerful point, and that's the reason why it's part of the 72 absolute needles. Again, in this case, the indication of why it's part of the 72 absolute needles is not crystal clear within Master Tung teachings, but in my opinion, it can only be this because it's, from what I know, the best point in the world to treat lack of energy and lack of strength, especially in the lower limbs. So never forget this point for patients with this kind of problem. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and share this video with anyone that might benefit from it, and I'll see you in the next one.